Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day. Definitely a rant this one, and surprise, surprise, it comes from a hysterical bedwetting journalist once again, this time in the shape of Dave Kidd from the Sun newspaper. That's right, that newspaper that you wouldn't wipe your arse with. So he's been writing about Newcastle United and how bizarre it is that people have written Newcastle United off this season. He actually thinks Newcastle United will push Manchester City for the title, and he thinks that Man City and Newcastle, who have played this weekend, will be first and second in the Premier League. He doesn't say what order they're going to be in. So that sounds like a great piece, doesn't it? To be fair, that sounds like a journalist who's actually taken us very seriously, but it is through gritted teeth, and it is through the thin veil of abuse and picking fault at Newcastle United and who their owners are as well. He does go on to talk about the Saudi Arabian state. He talks about us at Manchester City as the two sovereign funded superpower wealthy clubs, the poor American billionaire capitalists at Manchester United, Chelsea and Liverpool can't compete with. He even goes as far as to call their own Just Stop Oil protests, which is hilarious, because I think they've actually spent more money than Newcastle in the transfer window if you look at that, Dave Kidd, which obviously you don't. You just want to throw headlines out there to get reactions like I'm giving you right now, so we are playing into your hands. But we're going to talk about it anyway, because it was a bit of a stupid piece, in all fairness. It was all over the place, to be honest with you. It was like a roller coaster. So he did praise Newcastle United in terms of our performance, and you know, slight praise of how well Eddie Howe has improved players, and he talked about it. This is the weird bit, so he kind of contradicted himself. So he talked about how we're getting close to becoming a Saudi funded club because 8 of the 11 players at the weekend were all new buys. Now, just to give you a little bit of perspective, Dave Kidd, under Mike Ashley, we were probably one of the most underinvested squads in the last 10, 15 seasons in the Premier League. Ashley cut us to the bone and invested very, very little. So we were full of dead wood. We were full of players that nobody wanted. We've still got players nobody wants in shape of Jeff Hendrick and people like that. Even Ryan Fraser, the ghost. Nobody wants these players. That's why we can't shift them off. So we had to buy new players. We had to improve the squad, and it's worked on the pitch. And that's why we're a Champions League club right now, and that's why we're getting stuck in the paw of the Premier League lion and upsetting you guys as well in your little journalistic hubs. So we had to replace all those players to get success on the pitch. Now, if you look at the deals that Newcastle United have done, he talks about, this is where he contradicts himself. So he says that Livramento and Harvey Barnes set us back 70 million, but he says they're great buys. You throw Lewis Hall into their loan with obligation to buy. So we would have signed Livramento, who could be England's future right back in the next 2 or 3 seasons. Lewis Hall, who could be England's left back in the next few seasons. Harvey Barnes, who could be, a mainstay England player, getting plenty of caps and goals in the next few seasons. And we signed all 3 of those guys for about the cost of what Caicedo is going to be as a defensive midfielder for Chelsea. So do the maths there, mate, and I think that is good business. So, if you're saying that Saudi state and funded wealth, then I think they're spending their money quite wisely, to be honest with you. But he does go on and talk about the Saudi Arabian atrocities and the human rights issues, and I don't think any of us can really bite back on that, really, because it is something that everyone's always going to throw at us, and you can't really argue about it. You can say you don't care, that's your prerogative, but you can't really argue about it. But I think the bit in the piece that really threw me was, so he said that Newcastle eventually will go on and win the Premier League, probably when Pep Guardiola buggers off from Manchester City. And I think that's coming in the next 2 or 3 seasons, to be honest with you. And in a way you think, oh, that's great, what a compliment that is. But this is the bit that really sold the piece, I think. He said, when Newcastle United win the league, it will be the darkest day in the Premier League. And it would only be bested if Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un or the Taliban bought a Premier League football club. I mean, wow. When Steve Bruce accused Newcastle fans of hysteria, now that's hysteria. That is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever heard come out of any so-called intelligent individual's mouth. I mean, fuck me sideways. Newcastle winning the Premier League is only going to be bested by, the League of Super Evil buying a football club. I mean, holy shit. I know that Saudi Arabia haven't got great human rights records, and people would probably accuse them of being evil as well. But listen, mate, you write for the Sun newspaper. You're hardly scribing the New Testament for JC. You know, you write for one of the most gutter rag, vile pieces of shit that's out there. You write for a newspaper that depicted Liverpool fans as hooligans and thugs who were trampled to death because of an oversight by the police force in the Hillsborough disaster. You lot are fucking vile, absolutely vile. If these guys are in the League of Super Evil, you fuckers are making the T's in the back, because you are evil, you're just not super evil. So I think you should maybe look in the mirror, mate, and remember who's paying your salary before you start chucking around superlative, hysterical tags like that. Fucking hell, honestly, unbelievable. That's even worse than Halt and Delaney. I can't believe what I was reading, to be honest with you. But we're always going to get this off these shit houses, because of who the owners are. But just like Manchester City, when success comes on the pitch and when we have a media darling as a manager, they just forget all about it. You know, they don't really throw Man City under the bus. This is probably one of the first articles I've read of people criticising Manchester City for a long time. It's normally Sky Sports having a 3-hour wankathon about how Pep plays wonderful football and how amazing his jumpers are, and and how he talks and everything else. And you watch Gary Neville and Carragher gush and blush. Pep, you're so lovely. So that's the kind of bollocks that we normally watch. But maybe Newcastle will get there one day, but until then we're going to have to put up with these fucking tits writing hysterical articles like this, the darkest day the Premier League has ever known. Fuck me. The Premier League has been full of League of Super Evil money for decades, mate. Roman Abramovich, there's 2 words for you straight away. Have a look into that. Fucking Nora. I mean, who was the guy that owned Cardiff? Was it Vincent Van Tan or whatever? He was a Bond villain, lived in a fucking volcano or something, mate. So all this money's been here for decades, and it only suits you journalists to criticise it when you want to criticise it. You're happy to big people up when Chelsea were under the revolution under Abramovich. You didn't ask a question about where that money come from whatsoever. But, when Newcastle United, the new kid in the block, come along with rich owners, all of a sudden, let's all get them. Let's all go for them. They're fair game to everybody. So, yeah, have a read of the piece. Mark will put a link in it down below. Utter fucking nonsense, in my opinion. It really is. And again, one of the best bits in the piece is just how we're getting under the skin of the so-called elite clubs, pissing the likes of Klopp off and everything. That's exactly what we are. Eddie Howe's already said we're not here to make friends, we're here to win. And he said that again when he was asked about Clippity Klopp's stupid comments as well. So good on you, Eddie. Good on you, Newcastle. Let's keep succeeding. Let's fucking annoy these little wet wipes every single step of the way. And we'll catch you later, everyone. Thanks for watching. If this is the kind of thing you like, smash subscribe, come and join us, and there'll be some more of these rants coming in the next few weeks, I'm sure. Have a good one, everyone. See you later. Bye bye.